Welcome to the Paranormal Portal, ladies and gentlemen, to the Friday edition of the Paranormal Portal anyways. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we are now concluding any vestige of the work week. This is it. It's the weekend, and welcome to it. I hope you guys had a great week, and everything's been going good. I don't know. Things are going okay here. I think life is getting back together, and you know, anytime you have an upheaval in your life, it takes a while. It takes a while to find your equilibrium after, you know, being out of balance or, you know, whatever the case may be. But I think that I'm back on my feet. I think things are good, and I appreciate so much all the love and support and kindness all of you that did sent me, because it certainly helps to know that, you know, people care, that you're not alone and that you're not going through something that's painful alone. So thank you all for doing that, and it really means the world, and I'm good. I'm doing good. I've, you know, found peace and found balance and stuff. And for those that may not know what I'm talking about, my father passed away last Saturday, so almost a week ago. But it's a tough thing. But again, he had quite a struggle at the end there, and so I'm really glad that he's at peace, because I firmly believe there's something more, and I believe he's there. So anyway, not to dwell on that, but I just wanted to again thank any and all of you who might be listening, who had sent condolences and your love. That it really meant the world. So you guys are awesome. And hello to all you guys in the TFR chat room. So glad to see you guys. And to all of you in the YouTube chat room as well. We are broadcasting, of course, on TFR Live, TuneIn, TalkStream, and iHeartRadio on the Truth Frequency channel. And as we're doing that, we are also simulcasting, as usual, on YouTube. So it's great to see you guys. Wonderful to have you all here. And let me just see how many of you are out there. So there's 3,151 of you out there on the TFR, iHeart, TalkStream, TuneIn, empires, respectively. So it's just so humbling, and there's a bunch of you also in the YouTube chat room. So you guys are great. Thank you so much. It always makes makes me feel so humbled. You know, I started doing the Paranormal Portal just as a labor of love. It's something that I've been passionate about my whole life, and so when I had the opportunity to do this, Chris said, yeah, let's do it. I was like, cool. And it's really growing and becoming something that's truly phenomenal to me. And of course, I think I've put a lot of work into it, but it's so nice to see it growing and expanding and getting all kinds of wonderful messages from you guys out there. So supportive and wonderful. Just got one today that was thanking us for putting on some of the old episodes, because lately what's been happening is Don has been going in the TFR archives and pulling up some of our older episodes and putting them on YouTube as well. And it's just given people another avenue of checking out what we've done on the show and stuff. So, thanks, Obake. You're awesome too, brother. And audio's going up and down. I don't know if you guys are having trouble with the audio, or if you're having trouble hearing me, please let me know. But as far as I can tell, everything looks good here. So, nice. But anyway, we got a message that said, you know, a person has been binging the Paranormal Portal, and she was thrilled that we were putting up more episodes because she was re-listening to the old episodes as well. So gave her something new to listen to. So awesome. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. And you guys are amazing. Nothing short of amazing. So here we are. It's Friday night. Let's see. Tomorrow night, I do want to make a mention of this again. Mr. Dan Pruitt will be joining us here on the portal. And Dan is a seasoned paranormal investigator and really an incredibly intelligent guy, especially in terms of technique and technical details of paranormal investigating. Just a really wonderful guy. He'd been on the show one other time, and I felt really bad because on his first appearance on the show, I had so many problems. I felt so terrible because it was his first time on the show, and it was just a train wreck. I think somewhere along the line, the network connection dropped, and I didn't know it, and we lost about 3/4 of that episode on the TFR archives, but fortunately it was being simulcast on YouTube at that point, so the full episode is in there. I had to, of course, pull it out and edit it and then re-upload it because it was such a train wreck, but it's at least passable now. But it'll be nice to have Dan back on and give him a better run at this without all the issues. So I'm the thank you, lady. That's very sweet. But anyway, so Dan will be with us tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to that. And of course, Don will be here as well, helping me man the ship that is the portal. And so that's coming up. And what else is coming up next weekend? I know we are joined by, let's see, where is it? Oh, yeah, Dan is this weekend, and then next weekend on the 28th, Mrs. Deborah Varner will be with us. She is our Paranormal Portal resident psychic, and she will be doing live readings to callers to the show. So if you would like a little peek into what's coming up in your world, in your future, you have anything you're concerned about, like money or job situation, relationship stuff, I mean, Deb's really the real deal. She's done an amazing job and given some amazing advice, and I've gotten feedback from the listeners who have had readings. Not all of them, but several of them have contacted me again and said, wow, she was really dead on. She was really nailed this. It was really amazing, and it was great. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, but Deb has also extended herself to be a resource as well on the show, and not just in the capacity of giving free readings, but in the capacity of being a real light to some people that are going through some tough paranormal times. And I've asked her several times to just talk to and reach out to listeners that were having troubles, and she's really been amazing in reaching out and helping them too. And so definitely tune in. She's an angel of a person. As well as Sean has reached out and said he would be, and so has Diane Swiger has volunteered herself for people that might be going through tough times. So it's been really nice that we've been able to kind of accumulate this support network of sorts to help people that are going through tough paranormal situations and don't quite know what to do. So if you're having anything going on in your world, you're not sure how to deal with it, or would like some kind of assistance or just advice, please email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com, and I'll certainly help you as much as I can, but I can also put you in touch with any one of those people, and they have been gracious enough to offer themselves to assist and have. So thank you, all three of you, for being such wonderful resources that we can have here on the show and to help people that might need it. So anyway, that's what's coming up. That's what time it is. And so is the sound going okay? I don't know, is the TFR sound doing good? Oh, thanks, Deb. And Deb's actually in the TFR live chat room. If you would ever like to check out another chat room, if you're hearing the sound of my voice and you're not currently in one of our chat rooms, you have two options. One, of course, is to go to tfrlive.com/chat, and you can join in there, create your own username and password, and be a part of the community over there. A bunch of amazing people. Or you can go to Paranormal Portal on YouTube, and when we're doing a live episode, of course, the chat function is available as well. So it's just really cool to be able to see all these conversations going on. I wish I could sit and read them, but I got a show to do. So, but if there's Okay, thanks, Marshall. I appreciate that. I just was worried about the sound a little bit because I heard that it was going up and down. But if those of you on YouTube can let me know. Okay, Sarah says it's good now. Okay, thank you guys. So we're going to continue with the show tonight, which is going to be some visage from the paranormal realm. And it's essentially, there's no guest tonight, and it's just me talking about phenomenon and encounter stories, which I really love doing. It's really how I got my start on the show. Is when I first started doing the show, I was like, I've always had this vision of it being listener supported as well, where listeners would call in and we would get a lot of interaction that way. We've got some great contributions to the show from many of you, and I really, really appreciate that through the years that we've been doing the show. It's over 2 years now that the show has been on the airwaves and on the net waves, or whatever the hell you call it when it's over the internet. But I thought, when I was doing it, I was like, well, it'll be really cool because people will call in and share their stories. And in my head, there was just going to be call after call after call. But it's tough to, get people to want to share these things. It's tough for people that have experienced them to even process them themselves. And so when I had this vision in my head, I never considered that. But a lot of you have stepped up and shared your experiences, and they've been absolutely amazing, and I appreciate it. But if you have an experience of your own that you would like to discuss on the show, please feel free to call in. The call-in board is always open on the Friday, Saturday shows, not the Wednesday show, but the Friday, Saturday night shows. The call-in board is always open, and the number is 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. And if you're checking us out on youtube.com/paranormal portal on our live stream there, the number is actually on the frame of the show. So if you're calling from the UK, it's 44203-393-2871. Again, 44203-393-2871. So a couple of options to get in touch with us. And then, right off the bat, let's get to our first call. Outstanding. Mr. Sean, you're on the air, sir.
Hey, Brent.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm sorry I missed last week. I missed your other show about talking to the dead.
Oh, it's.
I wanted to actually give you a story that would make you feel good.
Oh, fantastic!
But, once again, my condolences about your father. I'm sorry.
Thank you much. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your messages as well. That was really sweet.
You're perfectly welcome. In my life, the person who seemed most like your dad was my grandfather, because my father was abusive, and he was the antithesis of everything that I'd ever seen in a TV dad. And he would send me flying just for fun. Uh-oh. And his favorite place to aim was usually my right ear from behind. So to this day, compromised hearing there.
I'm so sorry.
My grandfather believed that he was, because he was struck by a car, lady doing 65 in a 25-mile-an-hour zone, because she wanted to see if she could get insurance money so she could not have to pay for it, and it would be paid for by just knocking down some random black guy. And when she got away scot-free, but the reason why we caught her is because she actually called to sue my grandfather for having damaged her car with his body. And you can't write that stuff. That's real.
Oh. That's horrid.
So my grandfather flatlined 3 times on. My grandfather flatlined 3 times on the way to the hospital, and he wouldn't have survived if it wasn't for the fact that where he got hit was literally 3 houses away from a fire department. Paramedics just came running. They didn't even bother to drive the car; they just ran. Mm-hmm. And so he went into the light repeatedly. And so when he came back, he told my mother she was pregnant with me, and that the reason why he was back was to watch over me. So he and I had a extremely strong relationship. He wanted to buy me things. I didn't want him to buy me things. If he wanted to make things with his hand, I was all for that. But we spent time together. We talked about things, and we played cards. So he and I were really, really close. Mm. But when my mother divorced my father, she drove them off and would not let me go visit them. The night that my grandfather died, I knew about it, and she she didn't believe me. But that I'll get to that part. I went to bed as normal. It was a normal school night, and I fell asleep. And as soon as I started the dream, my grandfather was right there. And if you've heard of lucid dreaming, where you actually believe you're literally awake, it felt like I was 100% awake. Mm-hmm. I was talking to him, and I were having a conversation about. I told him, I said, I'm sorry, I haven't been to come see you. I have been wanting to, but my mom won't let me get out of the house. He says, oh, no, I understand. I know what she's been doing so that we couldn't be together. I totally understand. And he says, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. I'm always going to be here now. Don't worry. I'm always going to be around. Mm-hmm. He says, she can't stop it. Sorry, I'm trying not to tear up. She can't stop me anymore. And I said, why? What changed? He says, you'll find out. It's not important. I said, no, don't lie to me. Please tell me. He says, you know what's going on. You're a smart boy. Everything will be fine. She can't stop me anymore. I'm always going to be there. Time for you to wake up. I woke up. When we were talking, we were in the emergency room where he was. And I had just looked over his shoulder and seen, as I was talking to him, that he was laying in the hospital bed, which is why he said time to wake up. I got out of bed. I was so mad because I had not been there. And I went to get myself something to drink. My mom got up and said, what's the matter with you? And I said, my grandfather's dead. He said, no, he couldn't. Yes, he's dead. He died. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get to be with him as often as I'd like because you're constantly keeping me busy because you kept me away from him. And I learned my lesson. From now on, nobody's going to keep me away from the ones I love. Mm. Wow. And she told me I was crazy. It wasn't possible. The following day, she came back and said, you're right. He died last night. I don't know how you knew, but I asked some friends who are still friends with your aunt's family, and they told me. Wow. My aunt, now in a complete twist, made sure to contact me as soon as she could and said, how did you know? And I said, Tia, he came to me. He told me. He talked to me and he said he was not going to let Julia get in the way anymore. And then she proceeded to tell me the night that he died, as he was slipping away, he kept saying, she's not going to stop me. I'm going to go see him. If I get out of this hospital, she's never going to stop me again. Wow. That's brilliant. And so I'm so sorry for what you went through. Sorry, go ahead. I'm so sorry for what you went through, but what a beautiful thing that he made sure to come say goodbye to you. That's so wonderful. It wasn't really goodbye. That was the thing. Well, when my son was born, he was there. I went to go check on my son because I couldn't sleep. When my first son was born, I found that I kept checking on him to make sure he was still breathing. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sleeping. I got up in the middle of the night and went to his crib, and I bumped into the shoulder of a man that was standing there, and I jumped because I thought, oh my God, what is this? And then I saw it was my grandfather, and I said, Papacito, ¿por qué está aquí? Why are you here? And he said, because you're not resting. You need to go lay down. You can lay down in my chair. And when the chair that he and I used to sit in, go sit down in the chair, and you can sleep. Or you can go back to bed, but you need to go back to bed. I said, but, you're here. I'd rather spend time with you. He says, it's okay. I'm always here. You can't always see me, but I can always see you. And he says, I'll watch over him while you sleep. Oh, so, that's wonderful. That's my grandfather. And that's the message I wanted to give you. You can't see him, but I promise you, he can see you, and he's always watching. That's the miracle of when you pass on. There's no such thing as a paradise that you can't turn back and look away from. It's not Xanadu where you're trapped beneath the ice dome. They can come and go as they please, and they look in on you. And usually it's about the time you think that you're thinking about them the most. So always keep these people in your mind and in your heart, and they'll always be near. Amen, brother. I really appreciate that. That's a beautiful message, and it's comforting to hear. I think every time
I hear those kind of stories, it's it really warms my heart, because I believe that with all that I am, I believe that they can come and go, and they usually keep close to us, and but what a beautiful story.
I'm glad I could share it with you guys.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for having me. You guys all have a great night.
All right. Thank you, Sean, and have a great night yourself. That is really cool. I love those kind of stories. And I think those kind of stories are some of the most powerful, and that's another indication, ladies and gentlemen. The paranormal generally gets this spin, and I've said it a few times on the show, but it generally gets a spin of spooky and Halloween and, frightening and terrifying, and it certainly can be. And I don't mean to say that, but I would say that there are a lot of people experiencing these kind of things as well. Maybe they don't get talked about as much as the scary ones, because everybody loves a good scare, but not everybody can wrap their heads around the idea that, a relative would stick around or would appear, as you're doing whatever. I mean, maybe people feel that it's less believable, but I think those are even more believable to me, that those that loved us and shared our lives would continue to share our lives in their afterlife, or in our lives. I mean, it's just life, right? But it's just a transition of consciousness. So, and as many people have said, these are the cars. This is, a car we're driving around, and someday we'll have to get out of it, and because it's just not going to work anymore. And it's pretty much the same thing. So, the spirit is eternal, and I really believe that. So thank you again, Sean. I really appreciate that, and those are wonderful, encouraging words, and it's certainly a timely message that means a lot to me. So thank you, brother. And ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't catch the show when Sean and his good friend Joel were on, which was a week ago tonight, they were on, and it was a great show. It was not only a great walk down their lives, through their lives, and through the stories of them coming into their gifts and understanding their gifts, and having this friendship and support of each other to help reinforce and help each other through the awkward parts, but also some great advice and great information as well regarding spiritual issues and the paranormal. So definitely check it out. It was a really fun show, and we'll have to get them back on again so we can get into more of their insights and, talk more about their talents as far as helping people with what to do with the situation. Sorry, I'm a little froggy. Sorry. There we go. But yeah, great information and great insights, and it was really cool. So, but again, ladies and gentlemen, the call-in lines are always open, and I will do my best to check them throughout the night as we go through these wonderful stories. But we're about 3 minutes out from the break, so I guess it's not quite enough time to get into another story here, but I would like to take a minute and thank all of you for spreading the word as well about the portal. As I stated, it is growing, and it's been going wonderfully. We're passing these pretty cool milestones with our YouTube channel, which is really exciting, because that YouTube, of course, for anybody that's doing shows, they want to be able to help support their show. And one of the easiest ways is, I can't say easy, but one of the ways that can really help is by getting an active YouTube following, because, YouTube, if you get enough people watching what you're doing and you get enough subscribers, then YouTube will let you do what they call monetizing your channel. When monetizing is basically just a term that means you can gain revenue from just doing what you do. And so that's certainly what we're aiming at here on the portal, to help offset some of the costs of doing this, because it certainly isn't free. And I would like to take a couple minutes and just make a reference to Chris and Cherie, of course, are over in Egypt, and if you follow Beyond the Veil, or Chris and Cherie specifically, you'll know that they're on their Ra mission over there, going back to the pyramids and researching all of that, and it's been really cool. They checked in today. Oh, hey, Joel. There's Joel right there. Cool. He's in the TFR live chat room. But they are over in Egypt, and they were going through the Great Pyramid today and did a couple video highlights. So if you're not friends of Chris right now, make sure to go over to his Facebook page, because they did post some of their videos up there regarding their journey so far, and it's been really interesting. But what they're doing is incredibly dangerous. It's incredibly important, but it's incredibly dangerous, or at least they're certainly going a lot farther than just a tourist. They're going there for answers. They're going there for research. They're going there to find out where this all began. Excuse me. And so if you want to help support them, please make sure to go to ayalife.com. It's AYALIFE.com. And they have a CBD oil that is, and I'm telling you, this is amazing stuff. So definitely stop over there, check it out. If you can, pick up a bottle or 2 or 3, and you will definitely help support the Ra mission and what they're doing over there in Egypt. So we'll be right back after these messages, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away.
Tell me about the waters of your homeland, Morty.
It is well known that the key to escaping the Matrix is purifying your consciousness. But our consciousness is bombarded daily with chemicals in the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the water we drink. This is why we are proud to bring you TFRwater.com, where you can get the Alexa Pure water filtration system. Unlike typical water filters, the Alexa Pure comes standard in stainless steel to keep your water free of BPA and dangerous chemicals found in plastic. This revolutionary water filtration system removes 99.999% of all contaminants, including fluoride, a dangerous neurotoxin added to drinking water, which was first used in Russian gulags to keep prisoners docile. This is standard without the need for expensive add-ons. The Alexa Pure retails for $199, but you can get $50 off by going to TFRwater.com now. Supplies are limited. 4 per person.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing great. And this is the Paranormal Portal. And I am your host, Brent Thomas. And so we are burning through this Friday night. I hope you guys are relaxed. I hope you're enjoying it. And I hope you will enjoy the rest of the show. And I'm just catching up with everybody in the chats. It's been really great. A lot of you guys here. So wonderful. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you. And I'm actually absolutely humbled that you're here tuning in. So let's get into some of these tales tonight, and you guys can see what you think. Let me see what I got here. Hold on. I got about 50 tabs open, so I got to go. All right. So this first one is, what about my mom, you ask? It is interesting to me that I looked at about 7 discs of recently developed film, meaning the past 12 months, and the only picture that came out unusual was the only one I took of my mother. That photo had a red mist in it. Now my mother, age 58, has had very vivid and strange paranormal things occur throughout her life. Here's the list of a few of her experiences. Around the age of 5, she awoke to find a uniformed Civil War soldier, ghost, standing over her bed watching her. The day one of her grandparents died, a strange brown dog suddenly appeared out of nowhere in the house and ran under a bed. Several family members witnessed this, and they shut the bedroom door to trap the dog, looked under the bed to get it out, and it had disappeared into thin air. The day the other grandparent, the spouse of the deceased from the dog incident, died, a black cat appeared from nowhere and sat in front of the house and refused to leave. After her grandmother's death, the grandmother's rocking chair would rock by itself with no one near it. She looked out the window as a child and saw an uncle she knew well walking up the street toward her house. When she ran downstairs to tell her grandmother Uncle so-and-so is here, her grandmother told her he had died the night before. In the 1960s, an unseen force shook her bed to wake her up when she and my sister, then a baby, could have died when a gas heater was left on and was leaking fumes. An untouched airplane helicopter toy turned itself on and began moving across the floor in the baby's room while she was rocking my sister to sleep. And around 1987, an untouched metal cookie tin slid by itself across a flat shelf in her home after the death of a close family friend and stopped in front of the stuffed animal that had been given as a gift by the deceased. My mother was looking for the toy related to the deceased, picked up the wrong item, and the cookie tin pointed the right item out to her. Those are just a few of the things that have gone on, details edited for the sake of space. Is it my imagination, or has my mother had an unordinary high number of weird stuff go on in her family? Could this have some connection to the red mist in the picture? And on our last show, I was discussing the question about why do some people seem to be paranormal magnets? Why, what is it about these people? And I believe it has to do with resonance and energy. Either they are very gifted and may or may not be aware of that, or they just are naturally working at a higher frequency than a lot of other people. And some people term these people like light workers or whatever. And I'm not into buzzwords. I don't really care what you title them. But some people just have an energy. Some people just have a presence. And those people tend to be beacons. All of those people tend to be beacons, the ones that are naturally gifted, and maybe it's all of the above. But these entities, of course, are drawn to this light and this energy, and I believe personally that in a lot of cases, those earthbound spirits, not all of these accounts in the story, of course, were earthbound. Some of them were, I think, visitations of people that had passed in many cases. But some of these earthbound spirits are drawn to this because of the whole unfinished business idea. They have a story that they feel they need to tell, their story. And maybe that's what draws them to these people, is they believe that maybe they can talk to them, maybe they can get through to them and deliver their story, and that would be some semblance of closure so that maybe they can move towards their own transition. And, I mean, it's all just theories, right? Because nobody's interviewed a ghost to get the whole story. But these are some of the theories that we all have. And I think that they're certainly valid. And it may not be exclusively these things, but I think these things are definitely fundamental to a lot of people experiencing activity on a regular basis. Now, that's not to say that they're the only ones that will. There are, people of all walks of life and all different experience and different levels that have, ghostly encounters. And I believe that some of them need to happen because people need to be shook out of their paradigm. And so when they have a paranormal event, it definitely causes people to question their reality, especially some of those people that are just so stuck. I think that paranormal encounters are absolutely metamorphosizing to those people, or can be at least. They can sometimes shake people out of their slumber, so to speak. And I think that the reason we are alive is to progress. I think we're growing, and we're supposed to grow. And those people that refuse to or just kind of quit, sometimes those are the people that experience these weird events because it kind of wakes them up again. It kind of pushes them like, hey, this is bigger. There's more here. And again, it's just my theories. I don't have any basis to tell you that these are fact, but it's what resonates with me. And I'm sure there are so many more reasons why it could happen, but those are just a few in a nutshell. So this is a story about a ghost cat. We just had a comment on one of our YouTube feeds about what about spirits, or what about animals and picking up on spiritual energy. And this isn't quite the same thing, but we have done shows about spirit energy being picked up by cats and dogs and birds, and pretty much any animal seems to be really much more open than we are, or more attuned to the subtle vibrations that are around us. And so animals will pick up this stuff far before most people, and next is usually, unless the person's very attuned and very gifted. I don't really like that term either, because it implies that some people are gifted and some people aren't. I think we all are, but some people are more aware of their ability, and other people haven't quite turned it on yet, or haven't tuned into it yet. So I never mean to imply that there's a special breed of people and the rest of them are just, normal. I don't ever mean to imply that, because I don't believe that that's true. I think that all, by nature of us being alive and being spiritual beings ourselves, we all have these abilities, but, some people are just born with that cranked all the way to 10, and other people are, maybe at 1, and the whole spectrum in between. But certainly animals pick it up first, then young children, but and then finally the adults that are usually so wrapped up in their lives that they don't notice much anything until it's slapping them in the face. And again, unless there's gifted people around. But anyway, this is a story about a ghost cat. Beware, this story has graphic description, so I don't know, I haven't read it before, so I'm warning you guys as well. About 2 years ago, my drunken neighbors were having a beer bashing and shot and killed my beloved cat Boots in the head, killing my cat, it says car, but cat. His brains covered the pavement. That's horrible. My dad took him, wrapped him in 6 layers of trash bags, and drove an hour away from the house and buried him. About 3 months later, my mom was asleep and she heard a cat meowing outside the window. She jumped out of bed and told my dad that it sounds like Boots. He didn't believe her, but she insisted he go look, and sure enough, my dead cat was sitting on the windowsill meowing. Where he was shot in the head was just a small bump. I had bad nightmares that night, and I was asleep with my grandmother in her bedroom when my mom came to wake me up. Right when I opened my eyes, I saw Boots sitting on the bed. I freaked out. I couldn't understand how he was there. He had nothing left in his head. It was scattered on the pavement. Anyone could tell he was dead. Worse than roadkill. But sure enough, it was Boots. I was the only one he was nice to. He wouldn't let anyone close to me. He would protect me. Well, He went on just as if he were alive, but one night about a month after he came back from the dead, he just suddenly disappeared. To this day, no one knows what happened to him or how he came back from the dead, but now our family is known for the ghost cat. Sometimes at night when I lay in bed, I'll hear Boots meowing outside my window, but when I go to let him in or open my curtains to see if it's really him, he'll vanish. He may be a ghost, but he's still my cat. That's that's an incredible story. I don't know what to make of that. That's like a resurrection and all kinds of wrapped in a miracle and deep fried in some holiness. I don't know what to say. That's bizarre. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. That's a weird story. I hope it's true. I love the idea that things like that could happen, but I wasn't expecting that. So there you have it. Very strange. The next story. This one is encountering a shadow person. I am 26. Well, let me check the phones. Oh, we got another call. Miss Diane, you're on the air, ma'am.
Hey there.
Hey.
It's Dee. It's Diane.
Yes, ma'am.
So, well, after the kitty cat story, I guess I've got to tell my story about my kitty cat story, okay?
Okay.
I had a wonderful little cat named Kangy, and he was my girl cat, the one I have now, her boy toy. And she misses him a lot, but he took sick. He had a urethral blockage, and I had to take him in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard for me to get him over there. And I remember talking to him and saying, I don't want you to go, but if you have to go, I'll understand. But please don't leave me, because he was such a sweet boy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were very close. He was with me all the time. And so I dropped him off at the vet, and I came home, and I walked in the door, and there he is sitting on the bed.
Wow.
And I'm there like, oh, geez, Kangy, that means you died, right? And he said, yeah. He started talking to me like Salem, off of the show.
Yeah.
He talked to me, yeah, that means I died. And then he stood up, honestly, became a human-sized cat, and said, I had to come back to tell you some things. And he said, for one thing, I want to hug you because you were always hugging me, and I always wanted to hug you back, and I couldn't do it properly as a cat. So, give me a hug. It was like, for some reason, even though he's a person-sized cat now, I'm not afraid of him. So, this doesn't really surprise me because he's my cat, right?
Right.
And let's face it, my cats were never normal. So, so I went over and I hugged him, and I was a little sad. And I said, gee, does this mean, you're going to come back and see me? He says, oh, don't worry, I'll be around from time to time. I'll visit. He says, I just wanted to tell you, I know you. You're going to think that maybe you did something wrong or could have done something better or could have done something different. You're going to feel guilty. And I just had to tell you, there was nothing you could do. This was when I was going to leave. I wasn't really going to be here very long this time.
Mm.
And I said, oh, darn, but I'm going to miss you. He said, but, I'll be around. And then I said, well, are you going to ever be my cat again? Are you going to ever come back to me as my cat? Because I've had that happen before. He said, no, I was a guy. Now, this is where it gets really strange, okay?
Uh-huh.
If it wasn't strange enough before. He said, no, I was a guy before, and I was a guy who I would watch women at how they behaved with their cats and how much love they gave them. And I always thought, oh gosh, I wish I could feel that kind of love, the kind of love that, women give their cats. And so this life, I just wanted to be a cat for a while, with somebody nice to love me and feel what that would be like.
Uh-huh.
And you were the perfect one. He said, you really were exactly the perfect one. And I wanted you to know that there's nothing you could have done different. And this was just the kind of life I wanted. I had a beautiful girl cat to be with, and you were really sweet to me always. And but next time I'm going to be a guy again.
Oh.
And then he told me a few more things, and he left. But I feel him around from time to time. He's definitely been back to visit. I can just kind of feel his presence around. So
That's sweet.
that is a very straight. I have never heard anybody tell one quite like that. But apparently, you can choose when, or at least some people, or some of us, or sometime we can choose what we want to be when we come here.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
It really is, yeah.
And I know that, some people maybe that, doesn't go with their religion or whatever, but that's exactly what he said. That's what happened to me. So this gives me a lot of hope, because this really means that we must have some kind of a choice, at least some of the time.
Absolutely.
What we're doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that. I believe, I've certainly heard the ideology that our lives were pre-planned, and I wish I would given myself a little better manual, but I think that there is something to that we're here for specific incarnations for specific reasons, to learn specific things in order to bring us to whatever understanding we need, and so that it makes sense that's the case. To me, it does. Does it to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think even though I look at my life and how hard it was, I mean, man, it was just, there were times when I was really wondering why the heck I picked this kind of existence, right?
Yeah.
Because, some of my past, a little bit of it, but you don't know all of it by any means. But
sure.
It was not an easy life, and some parts were really darn terrifying.
Yeah.
Really terrifying before I, figured out what to do about that, how to do that. And I think it was all part of the training, but I think it probably happened. I still feel like I'm getting ready to graduate this time, and I'm not going to do the same run around again. I think I am done this time, and the plan for me is to be able to have a choice whether I come or go, and when.
Mm-hmm.
And when, believe me, people, I think we're going to we're going into a time period where, as I see it, we're going to have opportunities like we didn't have before, because a lot of information is going to be coming out that we didn't have. And I think all of our loved ones are going to be helping us with that, because, I mean, so much so, I got, ever since David Bowie showed up as my spirit guide, things have been quite different. And he's doing a lot. I guess our beloved deceased ones are actually doing quite a lot for us there. They have a little bit different perspective, and although they don't have a body, they really do what they can to help us. They're doing their part too. So it's really more like the Native Americans often describe it. It's just the other side camp, and nothing to be afraid of, and realizing that if it is one of your beloved deceased people, then just talk to them like they're a person, because they are a person.
Absolutely.
We may have, in fact, one day, I've been saying this, and this will be funny if we really do have it, but it almost sounds like one day we're going to have a dead rights activism type of activism to have our deceased loved ones have some rights and understanding of their situation, because they will be so much a part of our lives.
That'll be
and
wonderful.
By that point, this is
I really hope you're right about that.
Very interesting, yeah.
I hope you're right about that, because I think if we ever reach the state that we are attuned to that level to be aware of them and to be able to continue that interaction and continue to shape our world in a more spiritual direction, then I can do nothing but just cheer, because, we seem to be so lost in this fog, that we've lost our balance, we've lost our sense of harmony and our sense of serenity. It's just this maddened pace of technology and distraction and consumerism, and it's just all so plastic and artificial, and it just is such a heartbreaker. So I pray you're right. I pray you are absolutely dead on with this, because that will mean that we will have taken a huge step forward in our development, and we can live holistically.
I hope so, because if we accept that as just being another part of life, the other side of the same thing, there are, of course, other things, entirely other things, and we talk about these, and that's one of the things that, people like Sean and me, and, there are many of us who we have to do some butt kicking, and so on. And then there are all kinds of other paranormal things. But your deceased loved ones are your deceased loved ones, and I think it's very important to remember that is still a person.
Right.
Always, and not be afraid, and not treat them like they're some kind of monster, and not treat them like, I think the movies have been very disrespectful a lot of times. And, how would you feel if people couldn't see you and you were trying to talk to them? Matter of fact, David says, some of the times I do some crazy stuff is because you think that you're thinking the thoughts that I'm thinking at you. You don't know that you're thinking that what you're thinking is me trying to think at you, and you're not quite aware of it. I have to do something a little. He's actually way funny. I found out from an interview I watched that David Bowie was David Bowie on one level, and on this other level, David Robert Jones was a crazy wackadoodle, wild man who liked to laugh all the time and make jokes and everything. And that's the one that I know. So I didn't even know that about him before he showed up. But apparently to me, it's just more proof this really is him we're talking to here. Right. So it's like, our honored dead are still our honored dead, and I want everybody to just know, if you are lonely for your mom, your dad, your whoever it is you're lonely for, just think about them, talk to them like they're right there with you, and they will be. They'll hear you. If they have an ability to come and see you, they'll see you. And if you just calm down and just focus a little bit, you might even be able to develop your skill to be able to hear them. I'm going to do some videos. I think I'm feeling, as I'm saying this, do some videos to help people be able to tune into that, so that they can tune into their own, loved ones.
That would be wonderful.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I love you all, family. I love you.
All right, we love you too, Dee. Thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, have a good night. This has been great. Love hearing from you guys. I love it. It fills me up with warmth. But we're about a minute out of break, ladies and gentlemen, so the night is burning away. We are cruising through. Again, if you want to help support Chris and Cherie on their raw mission as they journey over in Egypt and are trying to research the mysteries of the pyramids and the Sphinx and all of the ancient knowledge that is maybe there in energetic form, then stop over to ialife.com and check out the CBD oil. It's just amazing stuff. I think it's wonderful. Personally, I'm absolutely thrilled with it, and it's not only really well made, and it's their own proprietary blend, but it's in a coconut oil base, which is really awesome. It's not really like some of the CBD oils are really bad flavored and stuff, but this stuff is really amazing. So check it out. It definitely will help them as they, deal with everything they're dealing with and trying to keep up with it all. Check out those videos on their page, though. It's pretty amazing. All right, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, for the second hour of the show in just a couple minutes. Don't go away.
Hi, everyone.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Truth Frequency Radio. This looks extraordinarily bad.
They linger in a perpetual dream state, a nightmare from which they cannot wake. I can't see you, Mommy. Where are you? I've never sensed anything like it. Carol Ann is not not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 2 of the Paranormal Portal. Hope you're enjoying the journey. It's been a hell of a run so far. It always is doing the show, though. I mean, that's an hour. It's over. Just like that. It's like, are you kidding me? It really goes fast. I got a message on on YouTube today. It was like, what? It was hilarious, though. I don't know why, but it just struck me as funny. But this person posted on, I think it was one of our older episodes, one of the older streams, before we had the split cameras, so it was just Don and I in one camera frame and stuff. And person's like, the first comment is like, "Oh, cool intro, just found this, but watch, it'll be a 10-year-old episode or something. Just trying to find a replacement for for Art Bell or whatever," which is awesome. Of course, we deeply respect and love Art Bell. He paved the road that we're walking, so we have to tip our hats to the man who brought this into the mainstream. But their next comment was, "Honestly, you guys suck." And I was like, wow, that was funny. It just struck me as funny. So apparently we didn't win a fan there. I'm not sure what happened or what they saw. Maybe it was just the episode they watched. I don't know. But it was pretty humorous. Made me laugh. I mean, anytime you do anything in the public eye, there's always going to be people that are going to detract from it. It's just the internet. It's just the way it goes. Everybody loses any form of social charm. Not everybody, but there are people that do. Most people are, try to be decent even if they're online, but then there's these clowns that, they get their keyboard muscles and, everybody's an expert and could do it way better than whatever it is you're doing. So, but I don't know. It's gonna happen. And that's the first message like that we've ever gotten. And it actually did crack me up. I thought it was hilarious, but I don't know. What do? You can't keep everybody happy all the time, but we do the best we can here on the Portal, and at the very least, we always entertain ourselves, which I think is important. Because if I'm not entertained, then how the hell are you guys going to be entertained? So that's the paradox, I guess. So anyway, let's continue on our journey through the portal tonight, and no more calls on the board. So. Call-in board is open, though. If you want to call and share your take or your story or your belief or your thoughts, please do. I love hearing them. You guys are amazing. And it's always a pleasure to hear what you guys think. So, just a sec. Did I read this? No, I didn't read this. This is the story I was going to read, but that was when I got a call. So, encountering a shadow person. I am 26. When I was young, I visited my aunt and uncle often, who were park rangers at Old Cahaba Archaeological Park in Orville, Selma, Alabama. The park was the site of Alabama's first state capital and has a lot of history. I was 11 to 12 when I experienced what I'm about to explain, and nothing of the sort had ever happened to me before, nor has it ever happened to me since. My aunt and uncle would let me walk around the park at night with them to explore and enjoy the night. I always spoke of it as our ghost hunts, but it was not serious in the label. I gave our adventures. I hadn't at this point thought to believe in the existence of paranormal activities. The main road leading from one end of the park to the other has a horseshoe-shaped road which houses a schoolhouse. This schoolhouse was one of the few original buildings still standing in the park. I had visited it many times before, day and night. My aunt and uncle had been arguing this night, so my aunt and I were walking around alone. Well, that's funny. But we walk around the road where the schoolhouse is, and coming to the bottom of the road that bends back to the main road, we hear heavy running from a distance behind us. I have a flashlight, and my aunt and I are arm in arm on the left, and on the left, myself on the right, the flashlight being held by my right hand. Excuse me. As it comes up on us from behind at a rapid pace, my aunt says, "Oh, it's just Kevin, my uncle." I wouldn't even turn around and acknowledge him. And as soon as those words left her mouth, I turn inwards to her and shine the light in between us. I've never seen such an entity. It towered above me. I am 5'4", not to exaggerate, but it was every bit of at least 2 to 2.5 feet taller than me. It was black color, a thick black, if that makes sense. So as I shine the flashlight up and see its tall, dark human shape, it plows through my aunt and I. It knocks her back and she catches herself. It knocked me down to the ground so hard I lost a shoe. What scared me the most was the fact that I could still hear it running off as I sat on the ground in hyperventilating tears. My aunt had encountered ghosts and spirits before and was scared and shaken, but aware and comforting to me, who had never in my life, as I said earlier, even to this day experienced such a thing. She sat on the ground with me and called my uncle to get us. I have never walked in that park at dark since. What is a shadow person? Has anyone experienced one the way I did? Being in the way, I suppose, of a shadow person going somewhere. No, I don't know. I mean, if it's a state park in so far as it's wooded, I don't know that it couldn't have been, perhaps a Bigfoot or something. Yeah, I mean, there's no indication of whether or not it had hair, but it was, we're talking in the 7 to 8 foot range, and it plowed right through them, and heavy footsteps as it ran. I mean, I don't know. It could just as well have been a Bigfoot, I guess. Somebody responded and said, "Shadow people are creepy. Saw one when I was around 11 or 12. I was laying in bed, dead asleep. Do you ever get those feelings when you know you're being watched? I open my eyes and I see a shadow watching me from the kitchen, about 8 feet away. I close my eyes and pull my covers over my head, trembling a lot." There you go, Don. There's the covers again. A few minutes pass. I decide to check if it is still there. I peer out from under my blankets. The shadow had moved roughly 3 feet closer to me. Covers go back over my head, and I'm really freaking out. I wait under my covers for what seemed like an eternity. I come out from under the covers to be face to face with this shadow. Oh my God. Just watch it. Just keep an eye on it. I can't imagine having the covers up and then pulling it down and it's right there. Oof, that's creepy. So it's face to face. I can feel the fear welling up inside of me, wanting to scream, but I couldn't. On the verge of tears, I go back under my blankets. I sit there trembling under my blankets for what seemed like 20 minutes, but it was probably only 5. I come back out from under my blankets, nothing. The shadow was gone. So yeah, I really don't like shadow people. Something about blankets, ladies and gentlemen. They are the safest place to go if you're having a ghostly encounter. Not sure why. I can't imagine pulling it. It's like that video of the cat that online that the guy's peeking around the corner and the cat's away off in the distance, goes back, peeks out again. It's like 5 feet closer, but freezes. It's like that same thing. But I don't know. Jesus. If I notice something that's already creepy and I cover my face and then I lower the covers and is closer, I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm not going to hide again. Hell no. You don't know what it is. Eesh. Anyway, that's just me, but I don't understand cowering under covers. I mean, I understand being terrified, and I get that. But why not see it? I mean, you're going to be scared either way, so why not at least see what the hell's going on? I don't know. Just me. Unless they're Kevlar or something, then I guess it'd be a little bit better, but just my 2 cents. Them's the shadow people, folks. This is, I think, my childhood friend got possessed. Now, this is a bit of a different story, but anyway, possession is certainly among the realm of the paranormal, so. Sorry, I'm so froggy tonight. I think it's being outside a lot. I'm getting a lot more fresh air, and that's good, but all the winter gunk is coming out or something. I don't know. This is something that happened to me when I was a kid, probably around 6 to 7 years old. I don't remember it super well, but it wouldn't surprise me if I repressed some of it. That sounds dramatic, but it really did scare me. So I had this really close friend called Emily. One day we had been to the nearby Disney store, and I'd bought a Hannah Montana toy microphone that let you record like 10 seconds of fuzzy audio and play it back. But it could only hold one recording at a time. And I swear this will be relevant in a minute. So we're sitting down later at our house, and I don't remember exactly what she said, but she started talking in this really deep, gravelly voice, which, in retrospect, would be hard to do for more than a few seconds even as an adult. I wish I remembered more detail, but I remember her saying she wasn't Emily, and somehow I knew it was a demon, so I assume she said that too. Even at that age, I didn't believe it was anything real, though, and when she snapped out of it and asked what happened, I told her to stop joking around and that I didn't believe her. She kept on insisting she didn't remember and got me to explain what happened. Then she said if it happened again to use the toy microphone to record it so she could hear it. We'd been using it all day and did a test recording to make sure it worked. The next time it happened again, I don't remember what was said, which really annoys me, but I very clearly remember recording it. Because when she went back to normal, it would not play back. And it couldn't have been a prank because the microphone toy was in my hand. She didn't even touch it, but I swear to God, I remember this part happening so clearly because she didn't believe me since I couldn't play back her voice going weird. It happened one more time, and again, it didn't record, but this time I managed to convince her of what had happened. I don't remember much after that, but when I'd go to her house since that day, every now and again she'd say we had to do some activity because I think she said he might have been it, wanted or needed us to. I have a very clear memory of the voice thing happening again, but when she went back to normal, she said everything would be fine as long as we colored with felt tips. I'd be completely willing to write this off as a prank or Emily trying to get me to play the game she wanted somehow, but I can't for the life of me think of a reasonable explanation for the microphone toy not working. So, there you have it. I don't know. It's tough to say, I guess. Those kind of things have been known to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just check the board. Nope, no calls waiting. We're good. Haunted or just crazy? Okay, so I'm thinking about the past experience that part of me is convinced is ghost-related. That will be long in explanations. Sorry, you've been warned. But I'm trying to come up with reasonable explanations because even the most skeptical, reasonable explanation people can't explain, and I'm wondering what some other people's ideas might have on this. So around the time that I was 16 to 17, I'm 21 now, I was up late one night, probably 12 to 1 a.m., sitting on my bed playing a game on my laptop. My headphones are in, music is blaring. I have a bedside table that's probably about a meter long and just arm's length from the bed. I had half drunk a glass of Coke that I'd been sipping at on this table. On this table is a photo frame right against the wall of my parents on their wedding day, and I hang a charm bracelet that locket on that picture frame. Now, I always leave the clasp on the locket's chain locked because I always fear losing it. Both the pieces of jewelry were from my deceased dad. So after however amount of time passed from my drink, when I went to take a sip from my drink without looking to grab, I've just gone and raised it to, finish it as there wasn't much left. But then I feel something touch my lips. At first my brain instantly went bug, like maybe a beetle or something, because whatever the hell just hit my mouth did not feel small. But then when I looked down, there is the heart-shaped locket, no chain, that was closed, holding both ends of the chain locked together, just chilling in my drink. Now, as I've said, the frame was against the wall. Now, it was like I had my drink right next to the picture frame for the chain to maybe break and the locket fall in. Oh no. Nor was the frame high enough to where the chain was hung to be able to just fall in the cup. It was a good 15 to 20 centimeters away. My drink was right on the edge of my bedside table, so I could just grab and put back the drink without looking away from my game. So I'm just staring at this little piece of metal that holds a picture of my parents in it, currently in my drink, and I do admit I looked to see if maybe the chain broke. Maybe I had it closer than I thought, but you know how you get like water residue left after having a cold drink sit or whatnot? Well, that was as far away as I thought. And my chain sat in a little ball, like it slid off the frame and obviously unlocked. This chain wasn't faulty. It was secure and never fell off or only half locked, yet sat clasped like I had individually done it. But it's midnight and I'm spooked but tired enough just to go whatever, even though all the hairs on my neck were on edge. I just figured it was time for bed, and I was too creeped out to try to figure out what was the go with the necklace. Sorry, this is clearly from the UK or something, so some of these figures of speech are a little awkward for me. So I put it back on the chain, lock it, hold the chain on its own, and shake it to make sure it's put back on place on the picture frame. Then the next morning passes, it's still locked, sitting there where I left it last night. So I take a shower, come back, and see that it has fallen off the picture frame again and was unclasped, unlocked, but the locket still sat on the chain this time. Now, I'm an only child, and my mom became a single parent after my dad died, so I'm here hoping that mom went into my room, bumped it somehow, but yet she said she hasn't gone in my room. It just unclasped and fell from its spot that can stay in place for 3 months long, and the charm bracelet never moves from either on its own. So, question, does anyone else think it might have been my dad being like, wear the necklace, kid? Yeah, it could be. It's a weird story, but totally plausible. Weirder things have been known to happen. The house on Poplar Street. I moved into a small 3-bedroom house with my boyfriend and kids. Nothing weird happened for almost a year. The first time something had happened, I was asleep. I had a dream that an Easter basket slid from the back room to the living room up front, and when I came down the next morning, the basket was in the living room. I blew it off. Second was, I was in the kitchen early in the morning. I was at the kitchen table drinking a cup of coffee, and the cup did a 180 and moved away from me. That's spooky. My boyfriend and I were in the midst of things, and we both hear, "What are you doing?" in my daughter's voice. I guess that wasn't a daughter's voice. What are you doing? Sorry. In my daughter's voice. When we look up, no one, and my daughter was sound asleep. Last one, a few nights before moving out of the house, I went down to the kitchen to get a glass of water at like 3 a.m., and I hear, "Babe." I go look at my boyfriend, and he was asleep. When I went back into the kitchen, I hear, "Hello." Would love to hear people's thoughts on this. Well, sounds like you got yourself a ghost of some kind. That's just my ciphering. That's all I can cipher out of that one, ladies and gentlemen. My 2 possible paranormal sightings. All right. Some background information before I tell you my stories. I've had a lot of possible paranormal sightings, and they are all short. very short, which is good for a show. First time seeing a ghost. Background, I was 3 to 4 years old, and I had never heard of or seen a ghost. I woke up for no reason. I looked around me. I had bad vision, so I had to get used to the light. What I saw was something I will never forget. I don't remember perfect detail, but I remember most of it. What I saw was a bunch of transparent light gray figures like humans, but different. It is not scary, but to this day I remember it. People said it was a dream, but I had never seen a ghost, so I couldn't possibly make it up. Plus, I had an almost photographic memory as a young child, which has not happened since then. The reason it was short is, for some reason, immediately after that, all I remember is I was asleep. It follows me wherever I go. Background. I was 11. I always had stuff like this happen, but this was the most notable. I was walking home from my sister's house alone. I thought it was strange that no one was out on this day, and I was walking through my town park, and I heard a dog bark very softly, almost like it was right behind me. Me being a paranormal believer, I idiotically turned around knowing it was a bad idea. What I saw was very surprising. I saw nothing. The reason I thought this was strange is no one in the neighborhood I was in owned a dog, and no wild dogs were ever there. People were kind and would take them in and take them to a shelter, but no dogs in the area. I want an explanation to what the dog noise was. It was not an actual dog. I forgot to say in the story, but I always hear voices and animal sounds, even if I don't know what or who they belong to. Sounds like you got some clairaudience, wherever it is that you hear energetically. So you hear people that have clairaudience can hear ghostly sounds, ghostly voices, and such. So I would guess that that's what this person is going through. But very cool stories. Again, a lot of times it's not real super shocker stuff, but it is very interesting. Sorry, I'm just pulling up something here. I'm getting a bit of a headache. Guess it's all the strain of the past week. It weighs heavily on you. That's like a lot of nothing. All right, this one's called My Strange Experience, and we have 3 minutes left. Yeah, I can get through this. I decided to post this here because I thought people could provide an explanation for what happened. This happened recently, and I had a lack of sleep the night before, but this time it got paranormal. This night, I woke up at exactly 3:33 in the morning. I was slightly unnerved by this, but I fell back asleep. When I next woke up, it was 5:10. And I tried to sleep until it was time to get up, but a creepy ambience had replaced my white noise machine. I shut my eyes, and then a large wind came all over me. There was no windows open in my room, and yet I felt the wind sensation all over me under the covers. I cannot remember exactly what happened next, but the next thing I know is the wind sensation again, and something opening my door and mimicking my brother's voice saying, "Good morning," in a very drawn-out tone. Nothing else happened, and I checked the clock to see it was 6:45, and I then realized the white noise machine had made no noise at all because it came back on. My mother came into the room at her usual time, and I told her the story. Nobody in the house said that they were at the door at that time. I heard someone say good morning. My mother said this was just a nightmare, but I know better than think that, since the voice was when I was awake. Yeah, that's, again, this auditory phenomenon. And anybody that's done a decent amount of paranormal investigating will, there are EVPs, which are electronic voice phenomenon, but then there are just disembodied voices. And disembodied voices are allegedly created by spirits or ghosts or other, energetic entities, but they can be heard with your ears. So you don't always have to catch voices electronically. Now, the idea with EVPs is that spirits normally communicate in a frequency that's beyond our hearing. And so the tape recorders and digital recorders, of course, are believed to be able to record that. And that's very possible. And so when you play it back, then you can hear it. But there are plenty of disembodied voices, which are just voices that appear from seemingly nowhere when there's nobody visible or present that should have been able to make the noise. So it's just as real a phenomenon. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back for the last half hour of our show in just a minute or two, so don't go away. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the last half hour of the show. My God, it just flies. And I forgot to mention this, but happy 420 to all you guys out there and all you folks out there. I hope you had a pleasant 420. And Dawn in the chat room says, yeah, it's a good thing that 420 it lands on a Friday because there's no drug testing on Saturday. Oh, I know it. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? So, I don't know if you celebrate it or not, but 420 is in the heart. You can celebrate it any day you want. All right, so we are going through the evening here, burning through some tales. And it's Hitler's birthday today. Oh, Jesus. Well, I'm glad they recapped that with something a little more memorable. Rather, people were smoking blunts than praising Hitler. Jeez. So, last half hour of the show. How you guys doing? Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're having a good time. Again, tomorrow night, Mr. Dan Pruitt will be joining Don and myself here on the portal, and we'll be discussing all things paranormal investigating, and I'm really looking forward to it. And he's going to be bringing along some of his material, so it'll be fun to go through that and see what you guys think. But I'm really excited by that. Really looking forward to the show. And again, hopefully we can give Dan a much more professional experience than his maiden voyage on the portal, because all kinds of things went to hell that night. It was just amazing. I was so frustrated. But we'll do better this time, I promise. I think we've got a lot of this stuff ironed out now. The only thing I'm not sure about is if Dan brings in EVPs, if I can play them and they can be heard on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream. Because last time we tried to play audio files, they didn't go through for some reason into the TFR line. So I don't know why or what, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Hopefully it works. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to see if we can test that somehow. See if we can test it. So we'll give it a shot. I'll do some testing tomorrow before the show. So Sage well. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I should say. Don says sage well. Yeah, I should probably sage the house prior to that broadcast, because last time he was on, like I said, it was just a nightmare. But wonderful show, and he's a wonderful guest, but I just felt absolutely humiliated that it was such a train wreck for him. So yeah, I'll do some saging and do all kinds of cleansing as I can. But let's continue on our journey here. Let's see. Yeah, that one we read. So got to continue here. It's trying to kill me. It's trying to kill me. Okay. That's not too awful long. I moved into my new apartment here in California about 2 years ago. I should check the phones quick. Moved in about 2 years ago. It's big and has a nice view to the street. And when I moved in, the last thing I thought was if this place was haunted. I've currently been living here for 1 year, and it was quite peaceful place until the day I was about to die here. Yikes. It all started at the time I was on Thanksgiving vacation. I remember going my day as usual. I only step into the kitchen to get cereal and milk. That day I was alone due to my parents had to leave for an emergency. Keep in mind, the last time I was near the kitchen was around 11 a.m. I spent all day in my room watching YouTube videos, and it was about 3 p.m. and I saw my parents come home. I opened the door to greet them, and as I opened the door, my mom said, "What's that smell?" She claimed it smelled like gas, the type of gas that can kill you if you breathe it for a long time. She went running to the kitchen and noticed that the stove knob completely was turned on. I was so surprised because if I were the one to turn the knob, it would have been around 11 a.m. and by this time it would be too late to save us. The other person in my house was my sister, and there would be no way she could have gone to the kitchen without me noticing. This was a year ago, and I completely forgot until a couple of weeks ago. My parents left once again, and they woke me up to tell me I was in charge now, and it was about 6 a.m., and my sister was asleep. So I went to the bathroom, brushed my teeth, and went back to bed to watch TV. I know it will be about 2 to 3 hours for my sister to wake up, so I laid in bed watching TV, and all of a sudden, the corner of my eye caught a black figure next to the door. I turned as fast as I could, and I looked at it. It was like a shadow. It seemed to be the shadow of a little boy staring at me, laying in bed. Then I clearly saw it turn and leave. Part of me knew it was not my mind playing tricks because I was wide awake. It's been weeks from that, and the last thing I saw or felt was a cold hand getting my blanket and putting it over me. This is not made up. I actually lived this, and I know it seems fake, but it's not. Huh. You might want to do some saging of your own. Yeah, the whole presence thing is fine, but the minute they start turning on burners and crap like that, it's like, okay, it's game over. It's time to do some cleansing and really get them the hell out, because that's not a good presence at all. There's no way to make that okay. So all I can say is thank God I got electric burners. Huh. Yeah, it's absolutely dangerous. I don't know. All right, so let me see what else I can find here. Seems I've burned through more stories than I thought I had to read. Who or what is at my door? Who or what is at my door? This is a question we all ask when the doorbell rings or there is a knock at our door. We think, who is there wanting to bother us? Is it a package, a prank, a neighbor, a salesman, or even a cop? It's always a question and many times a concern. But in the paranormal world, the knock or ring can be something much more sinister. MIB, black-eyed children, or maybe a straight-out demon. The one thing they, paranormal entities, all have in common is, of course, their first objective, convincing you to give them permission to come in. It seems like they get extra leverage or power over you if they are inside your house, but they never seem to push or shove their way in, even if you are a frail elderly person. It's all about the permission. It's like the person inside the house is granting the outside entity special privileges, maybe, just maybe, to the insider's soul. Those are great possibilities. I don't know. It's like in the vampire movies, the vampire can never enter without permission. But if it's granted, Katie bar the door and the vampire gains total power over the invitee, and they willfully submit to their every desire. So the reason I wrote this piece was because my neighborhood started having encounters with 3 aggressive young people trying to get permission to come in their house and clean a carpet free with Dawn soap. What? It all seemed quite strange, and some of the encounters happened late evening in the dark, usually time for a normal sales visit. An unusual time for a normal sales visit, rather. Now it became a creepy sales visit. Sounds like black-eyed kids, but they don't usually volunteer to clean your carpet. They become very rude and wouldn't take no for an answer. Let me note here how this came to my attention. We have a neighborhood website covering several square miles of neighborhoods and hundreds of neighbors, which allows all of us to keep up with things like this, which I think is great. Several people on the website started encountering these door-to-door salespeople, and another aspect of the encounter was the fear and anxiety the homeowners noticed during and after the encounter, like many of the stories of paranormal entities I mentioned above. Interestingly enough, I believe the fear and anxiety is what saved the homeowners from the outsiders. Something in the human psyche saves them, even the weak and meek. If not, I truly believe harm could come once permission was given. We will probably never know if the 3 door-to-door salespeople were just aggressive young people, maybe trying to case the house to steal some items, or something more sinister. Sleep tight, your home is your castle. Protect your permission to enter to any stranger that feels not quite right. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the black-eyed kids are trying a new angle. It's like the car breaking down, we need to call our parents thing never seems to work, so maybe if they clean a carpet, you let them in. I don't know. I don't know. I'd say, hell no, why don't you mow my lawn? Then we'll talk. I'm just going to the website that they're talked about here. Huh, that's a long story. That looks like it'd be a cool story, but I'll save that for a Sasquatch video. But, on Paranormal Portal Radio on Facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio, I posted a video I found today that I thought was really interesting. And it starts out like one of those normal science-y kind of videos, but it says, what happens if you sprinkle salt in the four corners of your house? And I expected to hear a video about maybe mites or something, because, not a lot of sources online give much credence to the paranormal and energy spiritual. But, however, this video did a really nice job talking about salt, building talismans with salt as an inclusion, and it talked about the power of using salt in thresholds to keep negative entities out or keep anything evil from crossing your threshold into your home. And they talked about the benefit of sprinkling salt in the four corners of any room throughout your house to basically seal your house against negative presences and evil. And I was really, really pleased to find it, because that kind of information I think is really powerful. And again, it's a ritual thing, but I think that in this case, there are some things that exist that are more than just the rituals that they are attributed to. In other words, the old idea of a circle of salt to protect against evil is as old as time. But there is truth to it, and it has more to do than with just it being a circle or just it being a belief system. I think that there is something with the resonance of the sodium that may be a barrier of some kind. Oh my God, who the hell is messaging me right in my ear? Oof. Oh, it's Dan. I left Facebook open, ladies and gentlemen, and that was loud. Sorry about that. Dan's messaging me, but I'll have to check that after the show. But I got to close Facebook for now, because this ain't over. But if you get a chance, definitely head over to Facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio and check out that video, because they did a good job. And if you've ever been curious as to the whole idea behind salt and being used as a protective measure, and and such, and how it is used, how it is believed to work, not necessarily in specifics, but it just gave some really good all around information about salt. So check it out. I think it's good for anybody to know, as just knowing what to do to get things out of your house. Because I think most people are just, kind of, if something goes wrong, if they get a presence in their house or whatever, and we've talked about many times about how those things can happen, and some of the things you can do, such as saging and stuff, but there are other things, such as the salt rituals, which can be very powerful in cleansing negative energies from your presence and from your home, and even to the tune of creating barriers. And this is something Deb and I have discussed at length, and it was actually the advice that was given in the case of one of the people that was contacting me regarding their child being their child is very attuned spiritually, and he was being essentially stalked by some kind of entity, and it was a real dark, ugly thing, and they were having some real problems. And the advice was given by me actually initially, but it was also mirrored by Deb to put a circle of salt around the outside of the house. right along the, around the house to create a barrier. And sure enough, that was a very powerful thing. And the activity really subsided and has pretty much gone away for now. I don't think those things ever actually go away, but they may just go do something else in the meantime until they come back to it, because I believe even in nature you'll see this repeated over and over and over and over. It's like an animal stalking prey is going to look for the old or the weak or the disabled in order to get its meal, because it is the least resistance. It is the quickest and the best odds that they're going to be able to eat. So an animal will observe a herd of prey and look for those individuals that look like they're the easiest to take down. And the same is true for any kind of being, and I believe this is true in terms of the paranormal, that generally they go after children in some cases because children are not as emotionally strong. They are easier to subjugate. They are easier to attach to and to influence, and they are already so open to energetic presences, and so children become a target quite easily. But by doing things like sprinkling salt around a house and putting in barriers and protections and saging and things like that cleanse the environment, it's no longer easy prey at that point. So I believe in a lot of cases these things will see that. They'll be maybe really pissed off about it, but they're probably going to go look for the easier target then at that point, because it's no longer an easy thing. And because everything they do expends energy, and if they do truly need energy in order to subsist and to continue, then they're not going to waste a lot of time trying to get into a house that's clearly warded against that kind of thing. So again, my 2 cents, but it's, my show and I got a microphone, so you get to hear it. And I don't know. It's all a matter of perspective, but again, the phone call line is open, but there's only about 8 minutes left of the show. It's really going quick tonight. Huh. All right. Let's read this one. This one looks kind of good. We'll see if I'm right. The paranormal black swan of the family. Over our years of research, Rainbow and I have come to a conclusion that in many families there is one person. Wow, is this serendipitous or what? A child that may have been selected to have a great deal of encounters from paranormal and or alien being sources. I swear to God, sometimes it's the serendipity that just really just knocks me on my tail. I was just talking about this, and then I just happened to scroll down and see this and decided to read it. So how do you like that, ladies and gentlemen? You're witnessing it live, and I can't claim any kind of planning on this. I'm just winging it here. So even though all or a few other family members may have had similar experiences, they are not forthcoming to discuss the events. The selected child, the Black Swan, is what they're titling it. Experiences are very much on the surface, not hidden or covered up. The other family members are screened, or the sheer fear suppresses the paranormal memories. In a way, there is a bit of a curse for that one that remembers. They are told by the other family members, it's your imagination, a bad dream, it's not true, or you're just crazy. It can even get into shaming and bullying the child into an unstable mind meld. I feel this works into the paranormal/alien agenda, causing more inferior emotional conflict among the family members. The creation of this emotional energy could be by itself one of their agendas. This human energy could nourish the entities' bodies and minds. It has been stated before, alien entities encounters are generational. There is a huge educational process that is going to happen among families that have been touched by the unthinkable, an alien/paranormal experience. It has been my experience that when families sit and talk through their common or otherworldly experiences, amazing life puzzles are solved. Each family member holds a key piece to the understanding of their duo life in this day-to-day reality and the dream/alternate reality most of us have, but few acknowledge. So, says, let me share some amazing numbers I believe are true from my 50 years of research. 85% of humans on Earth have had some sort of alien/paranormal experience. 60% of them are part of a generational group agenda project. And the other 15% are hybrids, and they live knowing both worlds with amazing clarity. Sleep tight. Part of our journey is to reconcile our duo self into these duo realities. And this is coming from truthseekerhighway.com. That's a great insight, great thoughts on the subject, and you swear I scripted this show to go along with that, but I just stumbled on it after I just said that whole diatribe that I went into. So very, very interesting. But we only got a few minutes left of the show, so again, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, please make sure to head over to youtube.com/paranormal portal. Subscribe if you haven't already, and check out our live streams. This one is being recorded for posterity as well. So if you want to see what the hell has happened through this episode as you're listening to the sound of my voice, then head over to the YouTube and check it out. We are certainly looking for more subscribers to get our numbers up so that we can in turn monetize this and help to support the weight of the financial burden of the Paranormal Portal, because it is a labor of love, but it's also a labor of cost and expenditures. So got to make a living, folks. And find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio. We are on WeMe as well, or I'm on WeMe. Don's on WeMe, MeWe. Sorry. MeWe. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to end up taking over for Facebook or not, but it's a pretty cool social networking site as well, and it's got a lot of great features and pretty self-explanatory. If you know how to use Facebook, you can know how to use MeWe, so it's a great site. You can find us on Twitter as well, Paranormal Portal, at Paranormal Portal, Portl. I didn't have room for the whole portal, so it's just Portl. And that's the Twitter. I've only got like 20 followers, but I really don't do a lot on Twitter. I just don't tweet. I should, and I'm trying to, but if I had more followers, I'd probably be more inspired. So if you want, follow me there. I don't know. I may try to get more active in Twitter as well. But again, we will be joined tomorrow night by Mr. Dan Pruitt being on the show. He will be bringing us regale us with his tales of paranormal research and knowledge of researching tools and equipment. So, and we're going to be doing Dan and I have talked about this briefly, and I hope to talk to him more in depth. He's a very busy man, but we're going to talk about some future projects for the Paranormal Portal that I think will be great in terms of best practices and stuff in regards to paranormal research, how to use the equipment properly, things you should do and look for, and when you're picking equipment to use, and so that'll be a really exciting addendum to what we're doing here. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, next weekend, of course, remember the 28th, Deb Varner will be with us. She will be doing readings to callers to the show a week from tomorrow night, so make sure not to miss that. She's really amazing, wonderful. I know you're going to love it, so definitely tune in and become a part of that show. She's just a real gifted seer and just an amazingly kind and loving, wonderful person. So if you're nervous about that, just remember, she's not here to embarrass anybody. Don't worry, oh my God, I don't want to call in. What if she says this or that? Deb's not doing this to, not doing it to embarrass anybody. She's all about just helping. She is a very tasteful, loving, kind person. So don't be shy. You might get some kind of guidance that you've been looking for. We're all kind of lost in this world, but we're all doing the best we can. So, you get someone like that can give you a little peek into possibilities, and that's a pretty powerful tool. So don't miss it. But if you are listening to us on TFR Live, on iHeartRadio, on TuneIn or TalkStream, be sure to stay tuned, because after the show, of course, we are followed by Jimmy Jean into the microcosm. Jimmy Jean's a wonderful guy. I've gotten to know him, and it's just been a real pleasure knowing him. His shows are always amazing and fun, and lots of variety, and a great time. So that's Into the Microcosm coming up next. Again, we'll be back tomorrow night, so we'll look for you then, guys. Love you all. Be good, be kind, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night here on the Paranormal Portal.